we're officially live. Welcome to Feature Fridays, where every Friday we will be showcasing an inspiring personal story. These can take the form of anything from written format to video format. And this week we will be interviewing Bryan Teare. Welcome, Bryan. How's it going?
Nick, what's up? I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
No, it's awesome to have you. I think lots of viewers would like to know who you are firstly. I think before we get into the details about the project you started, BigHealthyMe and BHM. So yeah, who is Bryan Teare?
Cool. So I'll take it back to, I grew up like normal family. Like had a really good upbringing. Went to a good school. Like did well at school. Went to varsity together. Did well at varsity. Out of varsity, got a good job. So I was kind of like doing all the things that, checking off the list, like the steps to a successful life. And I don't know where the sort of turning point was, but I think it might have been after the first time I traveled, and I know that's a big component of getButterflied as well, that I don't think people quite realize until they've traveled themselves. But something shifted my worldview and my thinking, and I realized like there's so much out there, and there's not like one scripted right way to do things. Our life really is, I like to say, it's like our only chance to do something awesome, and I kind of realized like no one else is going to make your life awesome for you. So yeah, I found myself at work at my good job, and I mean, I don't hold anything against the people, the place that I worked at. Everyone was really great. So yeah, I just got to this point where I realized like I really wasn't fulfilled where I was, and decided to do something about it. And that's pretty much led to what I'm doing right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I can totally relate to that in many ways. But yeah, just in terms of where you are currently, that's sort of the story behind BHM, I guess, or behind you, and what inspired you to do what you're doing. But in terms of like who you are, like what you're currently doing, I don't know, just if you could just give a scope of all the different projects you're doing.
Yeah, so my background is I was a civil engineer, um, and yeah, I always realized like health and wellness, personal development was what I was truly passionate about. But I always had this thought like, well, you can't make money from that, or um, you've got to get like a good job. And then I just kind of decided to go for it. So when I came back from the second time that I traveled, which was after I resigned from that good job, um, I decided to put all my energy into this, and go sort of wholeheartedly into it. Where I'm at now, so BHM or Big Healthy Me started as something else, which was called Dry Life. And originally it was about sharing sort of health and fitness and nutrition tips that I'd found that were different from what we've always been told. And just from reading more and sort of finding what I was interested in, it evolved to where it is now, which is more of an overall sort of optimal living type of approach. So yeah, healthy lifestyles there, and sort of eating well and moving our bodies, but it's more about a sort of holistic approach. So mindset, stress, all of that sort of thing. Um, and yeah, it's a big component of that is like a coaching component. Um, but basically, yeah, it's in person, our personal trained clients, and then obviously the view is to build the online thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's quite a story. I suppose you could be here all day talking about it. Um, but I mean, I think it'd be nice to hear sort of what challenges you faced. In terms of I know when I've been setting up what I'm doing now, one of the biggest things is sort of the fear of failure and the risks involved. And, you know, a big factor I've realized, and even chatting to some of my mates, is the money thing. Like, I asked my mate the other day, what you really want to do? And he's like, well, all I really want to do, to be honest, is coach rugby. And that's what he's passionate about. But the thing he said was, well, I'm worried about money. So, you know, I suppose that is a big challenge for most people. And I guess, well, what I want to ask you is what were some of the challenges you faced, and if that was an issue, because, you know, money is always an issue, I guess. And yeah, I think the viewers would love to hear about the challenges you faced, and I guess how you have been overcoming those challenges.
So challenges for me, because what I'm doing is very much online based. I had no tech or IT background or web design or anything. So I didn't really know how to go about setting up an online thing. So that was a challenge. Like, there's also this thing like comparing your start to someone else's middle. And I mean, saw some stat, it's like 50,000 blogs are started every day or something crazy like that. So it's easy to look at other blogs that are already established and say like, well, you know, that blog's so amazing, how am I going to compete with that? And, well, there's two things there. A, I don't think it is competing. I think, like, everyone's got their little space on the internet. And the other thing is, like, just, you know, there's a website called the Wayback Machine, and you can actually enter the URL of any blog or website that you follow and see what it looks like way back in time, which is pretty cool. But you see, like, some of the biggest blogs today, they weren't that great when they started, but the important thing is that they got started. So even my own blog is like completely different to when I got started, and I'm actually building another website at the moment, and I've pretty much got most of it done in a weekend, just because it's like natural to me now. But yeah, challenges. I think it's easy to compare yourself to other blogs and people out there and think like, you know, who are you compared to these guys? Like a small fish in a big pond. But I think the biggest thing is just getting started and sort of focusing on your own journey. And then other challenges. Definitely, I mean, money was a challenge and still is. But I think the more you start stressing about it, the worse it kind of gets. So I would actually, I mean, I kind of went all in and like quit my job and whatever. Looking back, I would probably tell people don't do that initially, even though it might seem really tempting. But I think what's more important is to find a job that you sort of happy in, even if it's not exactly what you want to do at first. And then having that going on so that you don't have to stress about money. And then, you know, if you do the sort of jumping ship type thing like I did, just finding sort of small jobs you can do here or there to make sure you're paying rent or that sort of thing. You make it through. I always remind myself, like, there's people that have come from way less and have done like, huge things. And I don't think things are ever really as bad as we seem to think. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I would say also, you can cut down on things that you might not need to be spending money on. But I think there's always a way around it. And this, like I said earlier, there's no one right way to do things. So the very first blog post I ever wrote was called The Beauty of Ugly Beginnings. And it was exactly about that, just getting started. And everyone's journey is unique, so just embrace it and rock it.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's quite important. Is just getting started and going with it. And the unfortunate thing is, I guess you have to you're gonna have to work the odd job, and perhaps a job that you won't enjoy as much as you thought. It's just getting started and being able to support that start. And then one of the other questions I had was, what you've enjoyed most about the process in a nutshell. If you could just say in a few sentences, I guess, what has been the most fulfilling about this whole journey you've undertaken.
Yeah, I'll keep this one short.
No,
So
no worries, man.
I, I think the thing that I've enjoyed the most, it's kind of that, you get this very proud feeling that when you look at your website or your blog or whatever you're creating, like that's yours. That's your little piece on the internet. Or if you're not starting an online thing, like if you, I don't know, if you're starting some in-person product or shop or whatever it is, that's your little thing that you've created. And once you start expressing what you're passionate about, which is the great thing about a blog, people start people start sort of associating you with that thing. And even if it's not seeing you as an expert as such, it's just people start talking to you about it, and um, yeah, it's just really cool. Like the connections. That's if I had to say one thing, it would be that is like the connections and the opportunities that open up just from expressing and putting out there to the universe, like what you're passionate about and yeah, what you love.
Yeah, exactly. I think also that what you're passionate about also changes. I know myself personally, I jump around a lot and do different things. And one day I'm doing this, the next day I'm doing that. And I think we also need to remember then that, you might be passionate about this the one day, but then the next day you could be passionate about something else. But I guess that's for another discussion, really. And then also what I wanted to touch on is kind of your vision and where you see yourself. I mean, obviously it's a journey and you can't really look too far ahead, but I guess you do have some sort of vision of what you're ultimately trying to achieve here. And I think it'll be great if viewers could sort of get a sense of that.
Yeah. So in the past, I was very, very structured and like type A, and um, I had all these crazy sort of plans that I won't go into now. But I thought I had like everything figured out and I knew where I wanted to go. And now I kind of have sort of ideas of what I'd like to achieve, but I try not sort of let it restrict me. But that being said, um, I, I am sort of the vision at the moment is turning BHM into sort of a community of people that are passionate about sort of living optimal lives and getting serious about their health. Not in a sort of anal or strict
Yeah.
way, but yeah, pardon the English. But just people that are serious about looking after themselves and doing something cool in the world. So there's the community aspect, and otherwise, yeah, turning it into a career. I think being able to make an online income and be able to work from anywhere sort of on your own terms is something a lot of people dream of, and certainly me as well. Um, so that's kind of in the pipeline to get to that sort of level. And then also, I mentioned it earlier, but uh, I'm currently shifting into a more sort of coaching uh, type of area and not personal training exclusively. Because your fitness is important in an overall healthy lifestyle, but it's not everything by any means. So I think, yeah, the three C's: the community, the career, and the coaching around BHM. So like if people go to BigHealthyMe.com, they can see the coaching little tab there, and they can see what I'm about.
Yeah, cool. Well, and then just in terms of, I don't know, just to end, I guess, because we could actually go on forever here. Is just, what would you leave with the readers? Or I know you like, inspirational quotes, and I think we all do. But if you could just leave one thing for them to think about, um,
Mm.
what would that be?
Um, Yeah, I mean quotes. There's so many that I love. The easiest would probably be to like if you go to the Big Healthy Me Pinterest profile. There's like a Monday morning motivation, and on my Instagram, there's like every Monday I share one. So all my favorite quotes come up there. But tips for readers and viewers, I would say don't let fear hold you back. Just get started, no matter how small that may be. If it's getting clear on what you actually enjoy, uh, writing the stuff down, like keeping notes every time something inspires you, like write it down. And then don't be worried about failure. Like, I mean, failure is like the way that we learn, and it's kind of a feedback. You know, I like that saying. Like, there's no failure, only learning. So don't be worried about failure. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Just see this as your journey and like how you can keep moving forward. Yeah, and then like I said earlier, maybe don't quit your job just yet.
And this is sort of off script, so I hope this doesn't throw you off. But
Cool,
myself personally is and I know lots of people do as well, they get scared that they might get bored of what they're doing, and they've put all this effort into this passion project they've done, or this business, or whatever you want to call it, and then they feel like they've maybe let someone down by shifting focus or dropping the project or deciding to do something new. I don't know if you've experienced that, because I know you're busy with a whole bunch of different things, and I know you might, or you probably do to some extent, often get sick of a certain thing. So I guess what I'm asking is, you know, what would you say to someone who feels that their interest, you know, they might get bored of a specific thing?
So thanks for that question. It's like I'm really keen to answer that, and I hear the concern. To me, I think it's just an easy way to procrastinate and to put off getting started. If beforehand you think like, what if I lose interest? In my opinion, like there's no way of knowing that unless you get started. And you know, if you do find that it's not actually what you want to do, like you said earlier, you've got a lot of different passions, and a lot of people do. I mean, I'm passionate about other things as well. I think what's important is to just get started, and especially with blogging, like you quickly learn where your interests lie. And yeah, I think, you know, if you get to a point where you realize, well, flip, like maybe this isn't what I wanted to do, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's admirable to be able to take a step back and say, like, maybe I was wrong. And yeah, I would say don't let the fear of that like hold you back from getting started. The only way you'll know is if you get stuck in, and if it wasn't for you, then you go on to the next thing. The worst that can happen, I mean, I kind of told myself when I got started, like I've got an engineering degree. The worst that can happen is I fall back on that, and like go into that sort of thing for a while. And it's like I said earlier, it's never really as bad as it seems. That's my take on it anyway.
Well, thanks so much, Brian. Really do appreciate it. Guys, if you want to go and check out Brian's website, it's BigHealthyMe.com. I'll also be posting this on getButterflied, so all the information will be there. It's been an absolute pleasure having you, Brian. All the best with your future endeavors, and we look forward to seeing the BHM and you growing as a person throughout this process.
Yeah, Nick, thanks so much. And like just a quick one from me as well. Like, I'm working on quite a cool guide, like sort of an optimal living guide. It's taking a bit longer than I thought it would, but like if people do sign up at BigHealthyMe.com, like they'll be notified when that launches. But then just a quick thanks from you, like for this interview, and I think it's really cool what you're doing, and keep it up. Things can only go forward. So yeah, really well done, and I keep going. It's really awesome.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Okay, guys, that's it for Feature Fridays. Tune in. This will be up hopefully this Friday. Just a few editing and stuff to do. Look forward to hearing your thoughts on it. Cheers. Bye.